The Red Raiders are moving on in the Big 12 tournament after an 81-67 victory over number 20 BYU on Thursday afternoon in Kansas City. In today's recap video, we'll discuss the standouts, look ahead to who Texas Tech could be playing next in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament, as well as where should Texas Tech now be seated after this BYU victory in the NCAA tournament. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you're excited about Texas Tech basketball moving on to the Big 12 tournament semifinals, simply like the video. It goes a long way in terms of helping us out. And, well, it lets me know that you're excited just like I am in terms of Texas Tech playing their absolute best basketball of the year at the most critical time. And I'd be remiss not to ask you to do this too. Hit that subscribe button if you want to come hang out with me and a special guest either next Thursday or Friday in the first NCAA tournament game of the Grant McCasland era at Texas Tech. We'll have a scoreboard on there, live play-by-play, an interactive chat. It will be your go-to spot to come hang out and really just watch the game and interact with hundreds of Red Raiders while Texas Tech hopefully gets their first NCAA tournament victory with Grant McCasland as head coach. So again, like the video if you're excited about them moving on to the semifinals, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can come hang out with us during that first NCAA tournament game of the Grant McCasland era. All right, I mentioned Texas Tech winning this game, and outside of 6 minutes, I don't think it does justice just saying they won the game. Because there was a 6-minute stretch there where, well, Texas Tech was lucky they had the lead that they did because BYU went on a 15-0 run. The Red Raiders had a 23-point lead at one point. It was 22 when BYU went on that run. That lead got down to 7 points, and then Texas Tech had back-to-back threes to make it a 13-point game, and after that, they really didn't look back. The leader in this one for Texas Tech in the scoring department was Pop Isaacs. He went 9 of 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from three. Also had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Now, the next leading scorer was actually off the bench. It was Chance McMillan, who also led the Red Raiders in rebounding in this game, 17 and 8 for, well, the junior guard that transferred in from Grand Canyon and has some postseason experience himself. No coincidence, he's playing really good ball at the most important time of the season. Now, another guy you have to really give his flowers to in this one was Robert Jennings. He was the best big on the floor, regardless of if they were wearing the white jersey for Texas Tech or the blue jersey for the BYU Cougars. He was instrumental in Texas Tech winning this game in a game that they were not favored in. They were actually 2.5-point underdogs, in this one. Robert Jennings had 10 points and 7 rebounds in this one. You add in Ameli Alahu's 5 rebounds. The bigs for Texas Tech in this one actually had 11 points and 12 rebounds. That'll play. Then you get a guy like Joe Toussaint, who really struggled a little bit in the second half, but he had 10 points. The only guy that didn't score in double figures in this one in terms of the starting lineup for the Red Raiders was Darion Williams, who had an ankle injury scare there early on in the first half when Texas Tech was really building their 23-point lead. At one point, Texas Tech led 40-17 in this game. Darion Williams went back to the back, returned after halftime, ended up playing 28 total minutes in this game. He looks to be okay, but that's something to monitor going into Friday night, where Texas Tech will either play the number 1 team in the country in the Houston Cougars or the TCU Horned Frogs. That'll be an interesting matchup between those two to have a chance to face off against the Red Raiders in the semifinals. Now, the things that stand out in terms of the percentages for the Red Raiders in this one: they shot 49% from the field, 47% from 3, 72% from the line. You'd like to see it higher from the free throw line, and I don't know how many games Texas Tech is going to shoot 47% from 3. Probably not a lot. Now, when you look at what Texas Tech did defensively, I thought that was something that really stood out. They made a BYU team that loves to shoot the 3 very, very uncomfortable in a lot of situations, all right? The main one was on the perimeter. BYU is a team that averages north of 10 threes per game in that 11 range. They made 7, but they shot 20% from 3. Now, I will say this. Texas Tech gave BYU some open looks, probably about like 3 or 4, if we're being honest about it. They just didn't make them. After that, the other 30, 31 looks, Texas Tech was there. They really made it difficult for Mark Pope's team to find any kind of open look whatsoever. They were harassing the Cougars out on the perimeter, and it wasn't just the guards. Give credit to Robert Jennings, too. I thought he was an X factor in this one because you could tell the game plan for BYU was to get him outside, really try and see if he's uncomfortable in terms of switching on the perimeter, and Robert Jennings just wasn't having it. He was out there really forcing contested looks for the Cougars in terms of the outside, while also being quick enough to get back and impact things down low. I thought he was absolutely sensational tonight for the Red Raiders. Now, again, Pop Isaacs lead the way with 22, and we've talked about it here on the channel. And by the way, I saw those Pop Isaacs slander comments throughout the year. I did. But what did I tell you guys here on the channel? I told you that if Texas Tech wants to reach their ceiling, Pop Isaacs has to play up to his potential. And now I don't think that's groundbreaking news or anything, but he has to do it on both ends. That's what I told you. And he has done just that. He was really good defensively tonight as well for the Red Raiders, not just on the scoring department. There was one play where I thought he got fouled on a layup. He didn't. He fell out of bounds. BYU was waiting to get everything set offensively. He comes in, pokes the ball away to Chance McMillan. Chance McMillan, being patient, has the BYU defender come to him. Pop makes a three. I mean, he was awesome tonight. I thought those two guys really led the way. Again, right there, 39 points combined between those two guys for the Red Raiders, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. They were sensational. And Texas Tech really came out and just asserted their will. In the first half, this really wasn't a contest. It felt like really BYU playing the day before had caught up to them a little bit. They looked a little slow of foot, dead leg, everything like that. And then also in the second half, when they went on that 6-minute long run where it was 15-0. I mean, Texas Tech just looked like they weren't even on the floor almost at some points. They did so without Ali Khalifa. Now, when you look at that, that changes their whole dynamic offensively. They tried to get out more in transition, and it worked for that stretch. But then Texas Tech hunkered down, got those 2 made threes, and after that, they really solidified their lead and ended up winning by 14, 81-67. I believe that the total in this one was 152.5, and I told somebody on the live stream yesterday, my gut told me to take the over. That means take the under. And what happens? The under hits by 4.5. So you love to see that on that front. But some other stats that stood out for Texas Tech, they had second chance points. They had 16 in this one. They capitalized on really the offensive rebounds they had in this game, which was 9. And that was really, really good to see. Right now, when we're talking about the seeding for Texas Tech, and this is probably what you're here for, if BYU is ranked ahead or seeded ahead, I guess, of Texas Tech in the NCAA tournament, we might just have to riot. If the committee really puts that much emphasis on a San Diego State victory, and that's no shot at the Aztecs, that's a good team. But that's the only difference on the resume between BYU and Texas Tech. And oh, by the way, Texas Tech has beaten BYU twice, not only on their home floor for the Red Raiders, but also at a neutral site. And they really dominated them for about, 3 halves. The first half out in Lubbock, Texas Tech got just absolutely destroyed, much like BYU did in Kansas City. But Texas Tech actually held on to their lead, unlike BYU out in the 806. Both games, Pop Isaacs was sensational. 32 out in Lubbock, 22 in KC. Not too bad right there, averaging 27 points per game against the Cougars. It's Pop Isaacs. But if the Red Raiders are not the highest ranked 6 seed and put into the South region or the lowest 5 seed, I don't know what the committee's looking at this point. They have done everything you can do to be a 5 seed. And this is losing 2 of their better players. And Devin Cambridge, who has not played 1 second in the Big 12, and then Warren Washington, who has missed the past 6 games for Texas Tech. Okay? They are playing their best level of basketball right now. Period. End of story. And it could not come at a better time. For me personally, I think Texas Tech is either the highest 6 seed or the lowest 5 seed. And if they have BYU ahead of Texas Tech, yeah, I'm gonna have another rant here on the channel because it's ridiculous at that point. But again, Texas Tech moves on to the semifinals out in Kansas City, where they will play the winner of Houston and TCU. We'll keep you updated tomorrow. We will have a video out discussing that game a little bit further, maybe a live stream. Let me know for those people about 10 minutes into the video by liking the video and commenting LS. Let's do LS down in the comments. No, not long snapper, live stream. But let me know if y'all want to live stream tomorrow before that matchup. But the Red Raiders move on to the semifinals, and once again, we'll face the number 1 Houston Cougars or TCU Horned Frogs for a chance to play for a Big 12 tournament title on Saturday night. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.